Recording in progress. I love that voice. Welcome to Conversation with Calvin, We the Species. And this is part of my commitment to the Garden State Film Festival because I love the Garden State Film Festival and I've been involved with them for a bunch of years. And I'm interviewing actors, actresses, directors, writers, production people. And I'm thrilled to do this because my whole constitution is based on film. My second novel here, there's 100 references to movies that I've learned things about life from. So I'm all movies from Casablanca on down. And I'm thrilled now to be interviewing Melissa Mars. We traveled actually some similar roads because a couple of summers ago I went down to see some filming of something called Exit Zero. It was a horror thing, and Melissa's involved with that. But more importantly, we're here to talk about Melissa's movie, The Sign, which is, of course, going to be showing at the Garden State Film Festival. And to let you all know, I got my thing, you got your thing. And I watched it twice last night. And I'm not giving anything away because that's not my job to give things away. But I even told Melissa before we went there, I took a page of notes and we can talk about that. So we're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about you, Melissa. So my monologue is now officially done. Why don't you do a little intro, a little bio, a little background, and then we're going to jump into some stuff. Take it away.
All right, I gotta train with those intros. My name is Melissa Mars, Mars like the planet. I was born and raised in France with Algerian roots, and I grew up as a wannabe artist, which I became very soon. I wanted to be an actor, a writer, and a filmmaker. The music somehow landed on my planet and took me for a huge ride in France. That was an amazing journey um, with 3 albums with Universal,
Wow.
a fantastic musical called Mozart the Rock Opera, directed by Olivier Dahan, who made Pavillon Rose, the movie. So that was a beautiful journey. And after that, I moved to the United States to reconnect with my roots, acting, filmmaking. So I was in a few indie movies. And I finally dedicated my creativity to going back behind the camera and telling my stories that had been haunting me for so long.
Wow. And as I said, watching The Sign, I found it haunting.
Oh, wow. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean it's haunting because it's such a powerful message there. And again, I'm not giving anything away. People need to see it. It's a short film, and it kind of makes you think. Uh, so um, so you're now behind the camera, and you were a pretty famous singer-songwriter in France,
In
as you
France.
just said. And so now, why did you really want to move behind the camera and make films? What was the
I
reason?
actually always wanted to. Like
Okay.
when I was 9, I started. I was like, I want to be an actor. I want to make films. And everybody at school was mocking me. I was like, oh, that's for people from another species, right? We are just human beings that are like supposed to have like I don't know what kind of journey kids at that time were um, just limiting themselves to. So I was dreaming and I really followed the path of my dream. The music actually originally felt like a detour. And I was not really happy when that happened to me in the very beginning because I was not understanding what was happening to me. Since it was happening to me, that was not a choice I had made. Like I made an encounter, like a Cinderella encounter with a music producer who saw me. I was like, "Oh, you should sing." Like I was like, I don't see the connection with just seeing me and thinking I can sing, but Everything happened really fast, and it did take me a few months to understand that telling a story, whether you're singing or acting or writing or directing, like it's telling a story. It's just different means, and the more, the means,
Right.
the better. So I was lucky because throughout my journey as a singer-songwriter, uh, I was with Universal Polydor in France, and they trusted me to start directing my own music videos. So that's when I started officially, although I was filming personal stuff that was staying in my computer. After a certain time, I got confident enough to show what I was doing. And then they really trusted me to direct my first music video, and it started then to, I started then
Okay, the
officially.
journey. Your first you have a previous short it was called The Last Touch,
Mhm.
rather dystopian. I love dystopian stuff.
Me too.
I do. And it was a past actually Garden State Film Festival selection, which had a pretty good festival run. Where is that now? I always like to see
Yeah.
where is that?
So funny thing, it was my first in-person festival, the Garden State
Ah,
Film Festival, for the last Dutch as a filmmaker. Like I went to plenty of festivals before that, but as an actor, representing the movies I was in, or as a singer, blah blah blah. But that was my first one with my badge as a director. So it's a very dear memory to me. And now they're doing the world premiere of the Sign, so that's even more
yeah,
amazing.
that's great.
The Last Touch right now is actually available on Vidaverse. That's Alex Proyas' platform.
Okay.
Alex Proyas directed iRobot, The Crow, and immense movies. So, and he's supporting filmmakers, indie filmmakers, and he has created this platform for short movies, and so you can see The Last Touch and plenty of other dystopian movies and other style of comedies and movies, short movies, and yeah, everything.
Okay. Um, let's talk about The Sign. So, and it's interesting because it's a comedy, it's a drama, but it's also a comedy, and there's a
Yeah.
balance there, and there's some heavy aspects to it, as we talked about. So it blends comedy and drama. Uh, what was your inspiration to create this?
Uh, so it's experience. Experience. Yeah, my partner who has a service dog, and my own knowledge and lack of knowledge with that, and I think it's quite general, but uh, it's gonna spoil a little bit the story, but how can we do it? It's such a short story. How can we do it? Talk about it without talking about it, you know what I mean? But so there are signs in a lot of public places, and some of them are incomplete. So for people who don't know what really a service dog is here to accomplish, they will see a dog, and then they will see a sign that says no dogs allowed. So I mean, it's easy to be uh, jumping to the conclusion that that person who has a service dog
Right.
shouldn't be there. But what they don't know, and what I didn't know prior to my own experience, is that a service dog is not a pet, and it's not an emotional service animal. It's almost like they call it like a medical device.
Yeah, sure.
So the person who has a service dog, first of all, has a disability, visible or invisible. That's not for us to judge because we don't know. and they need their service dog to accompany them in every public places. So that came from that frustration of myself misunderstanding and being scared to go there with, like uh, a partner and his service dog.
Right.
So
It's again, it's really unique in the way you jump into it. So it was a really interesting creative choice on your part. Um, what challenges in bringing this design to life? What challenges did you face in both and even in the production? I mean, it's a short film, but
yeah.
so in the production and actually in the story, so they're in the storytelling. So there are challenges. And how long was the shoot actually?
So it was like a few hours, but we did it in two different times because the first time I did it, I went back home, I started editing, and I was not happy. I was like, okay, we gotta redo some stuff, like some elements were missing. And then we shot again. The light was slightly different, it's never the same weather, same light, but
Right,
I
right.
was able to make it match. But then I was still not happy, and I was desperate because the way I wrote the story in the very, very beginning, there were three characters. It was going further, like the woman was calling the cop, and the cops, and the cop was coming. And so, and there was even geese. But in my dear writers group, where we read our screenplays, someone made a great comment. Is like, how are you going to direct geese? I was like, oh, that's a good point. I'll take them off. But I took out the cop too so that I could do it like real fast. I wanted to tell the story and be able to. So I reduced it from 6 pages to 3 pages, and actually, what was not working originally was to tell the story in the continuity, like in the chronology. Um, I didn't feel like it was working, and I was gonna give up on it and be like, "Oh, this sucks." Until I was like, "Oh, let me try that one last idea. What if we start with her running and not knowing what's going on, and she's racing back to the sign, but we don't know if she's running away from something, if she's running to something, so I started like that, and I like, it was instant, like the spark came back and the inspiration, and I was so excited by this new perspective,
Yep.
angle.
Okay. And the film also introduces a young and up and coming star, Domino.
Yes, I have him.
Yep. Yep. Precious.
Precious,
Precious. I
precious.
remember Domino's name, and I
Thank
love
you.
I love the techniques he uses at the end. It kind of reaches out and embraces you. And,
Oh, thank you.
and yeah, there were some nice touches as you wound down the film at the end, and of course introducing Domino, personalizing it. So that was good. Um, I'm gonna stop right now, and I'm gonna go off topic and ask you one of my favorite questions to ask. You don't necessarily have to answer it. It's one word, or you can come up with a couple different answers. But I like it. I borrowed it from one of my favorite journalists. But here goes. Excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Um,
And you don't have to answer it if you're not.
no, uh, Miss Keller would be the one. Helen Keller. She's always been an inspiration for me.
Okay.
How she overcame all her disabilities and became this source of inspiration for growth and for
That's great.
uh,
Great answer.
becoming
Yep.
an
Great answer.
amazing person.
Okay. Good. 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 All right. Back to work. Uh, Beyond the festival circuit which you're on, what do you hope are some of the impacts and some of the takeaways people are going to get from the sign?
So few. Oh gosh, you. Well, I really hope people can start to think about how they perceive things and other people, what they don't see. And I'm also hoping after the festival circuit, if I could reach out to more governmental institutions or parks and wherever they establish those laws, just to make them more clear and more accessible to the general knowledge. So I would hope to do that after the festival circuit. Hopefully, I
And
can
I
help.
think there's a great opportunity for that only because it's a short film. And somebody watching it gets a whole different perspective on things, and it's not taking 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 minutes. It's short, and it's a powerful film, and it makes people think about invisible disabilities. So I think there's a good future for that. Um,
Thank you.
Next, oh, by the way, what's we're movie people here. What are some of your favorite movies?
Oh, some.
Some, just some,
Some.
couple.
One of them, Blade Runner. I have a lot of dystopias that I love.
Okay,
Dark City, um, Gattaca. Right now, only the dystopias are coming to my mind, actually.
that's all
Weird.
right.
Um, uh, what was the name of the Lovely Bones? Or
Something
uh,
with bones in it. Yeah, I
mm,
forget, but yes, there was a
a
something like that.
beautiful, heartbreaking story.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what comes to my mind right now.
that's fine.
E.T. is another one, but that's like my cult movie
That's
from the
fine.
childhood.
That's fine. Yeah, it's funny. I told you, I think before we went on air, and I tell everybody this, that my having watched Casablanca now is over 200 times.
That's incredible. That's crazy.
No, it's crazy. A
Wow.
few years ago, we flew to Italy, and it's a long flight, and I had to sit in first class because my legs are big. I'm tall. I'm 6'5". So,
Wow.
and they had a special channel for first class. So I got a chance to watch old movies, and there was Casablanca. Oh, I,
Oh, wow.
I was in heaven. So I watched it twice, flying to Rome,
Oh, God.
and then coming home, I watched it two more times. So my wife said, "What are you doing?" I said, she came back to see me. She came up front to see me, and I'm watching Casablanca." And then, 4 hours later, she came over to me. She said, "What are you doing?" "I'm watching Casablanca." So, because the filmmaking, besides the story, and everything is story, story, story. Um, we'll talk about that in a minute. Story, story, story. But the filmmaking, the director Michael Curtiz, and how he uses shadows. I mean, just brilliant. How the shadows fall on Ingrid Bergman's face. It's so meticulous, and you never, because I've watched it so many times and I've read a million things about it. You never realize for the general public all that is really going in. The artistry of what you
Hmm.
do, Melissa, the making of a film is artistry, and there's so much thought to it. But we who consume it don't realize everything that's involved. It's such a heavy duty thing. Anyway,
It's true. I was just going to ask you, like, do you still discover things after 200 times? Like, is
yeah,
there
no, I
anything that,
do. I
yes?
do.
Wow.
I do. And if you ever sat and watched that with me, I probably would rattle off before somebody says a particular line, I'm saying
Yeah.
the line verbatim. Oh, uh, yeah. I mean, of all the gin jorts in all the town and all the world, she comes into mind. One of my favorite lines. I mean,
Mm.
that's verbatim. So I mean, I know the movie about 80% verbatim. But yeah, I do discover. Yes, and I'm not looking to discover, but I do. The more
Mm,
times you watch, and you know, when I read some article a bunch of years ago that how Curtiz used shadows, so I would sit up close and
and
I'd
just
look
observe
and I'd
that.
look at the shadows falling on a face or the shadows falling on a piece of furniture, and you know, just brilliant that
Mm,
there's so much thought involved in this in artistry. It doesn't make a difference. It was made in 1942. It could have been made today. Just pure artistry. That's why I love and have so much respect for what you all do. It's great stuff. Um, moving on, you're involved with Exit Zero. So tell us about because I had actually 2 summers ago, I told you I went to see my friend Keith Armenitis, a wonderful filmmaker whom I met at the Gardsdale Film Festival. He was filming a movie called The Legend. At that particular point in time, there was some involvement with Exit Zero. I don't know where it went, but he did The Legend. And I saw, you know, the filming in some barn, and I mean, it was powerful stuff. And my goodness, that little scene, the amount of work that goes into that one, oh, it's like wow. You know, it was a great perspective for me to really, you know, to be on hand and to see all that goes in to that. But anyway, that was Exit Zero. So tell us about it. It's a New Jersey-based horror kind of anthology, and you're involved in co-producing. Talk about that.
yeah, I mean, we're a group of 10 screenwriters, part of the Garden State Screenwriters Group that's been founded 25 years ago. I haven't been part of it for that long. Otherwise, I would have been, I don't know what age, but anyways, so I'm very humbled to be part of this group. They're amazing creators. And a few years ago, we started brainstorming an idea about making a movie together, since we were all filmmakers in a way or another, whether it's writing, directing, etc. And so we wanted to create a story around New Jersey, and 10 of us, imagine. So
Yeah.
what we did is that every one of us wrote a short movie, since it's an anthology of short movies. And so we took the time to write a short movie, submit it to the group, read it, and we accumulated about 25 stories. And after a certain time, we scored them like a contest or something. So that was very scary. I was like, oh, my story is never going to be part of this because I'm the one who's not from New Jersey. But I wrote a story that was really connected to my experience of New Jersey with the drivers. And long story short, like we scored it anonymously originally, and we selected 8 stories to be part of it. We finished just recently the final version of the script, and yeah, so every story is around an experience of New Jersey that you could turn into horror.
Okay. I guess it's easy to come up with horror in New Jersey. Poor New Jersey, you know, poor, poor, poor New Jersey. We're going to talk about New Jersey in a second. We're going to go off topic. Um, uh, you know, you're making a horror film, and then on the other side of the fence, you're doing things that explore deeply human things.
Mm,
Uh, and you obviously are a great believer in storytelling as a vehicle for social change, correct?
that's true. Yes.
Okay, and that certainly comes out in the sign because this is social change. Um, what other? I always like to ask. You're working on other things, obviously. Can you talk about some of the things you're working on now?
Sure. Well, Exit Zero, obviously, we're just like now we are fundraising the movie. We have a fiscal sponsor, Stowe Story Labs, And so we're taking donations, and looking for funds to be able to film it soon, hopefully. And another project I'm working on is my ancestor's song. Um, it's a story deeply connected to my roots.
Oh, cool.
And I'm starting a rewrite right after the festival.
Okay.
And hopefully also I want to direct it and develop it. It's a feature film. I had actually written a short screenplay a couple years ago that it's based on, and it got so much, it got accolades. I got also a best screenplay award at Bridgeport Film Festival. I was so shocked because I didn't expect it. Like it's the most intimate story I wrote, and I felt really naked at some point, like emotionally, obviously.
Right. Right.
And I did not expect that type of reactions, but people really felt connected, and that surprised me so much that when I was starting to work to produce the short movie, I felt like it was going to be expensive enough that if I put more time in the writing and developed it as a feature film, I would rather gather funds to make a feature film and reach more minds and eyes.
Okay. Okay. Last question. And this actually becomes a favorite question of mine because when I watched Academy Awards last week,
Mhm.
the light bulb went off for me that an indie film won
Ooh,
Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Director for a $6 million budget, which in the scheme of things for a full-length feature film uh, is nothing. And so it made me think, and it made me realize that this film, it's like a brave new world. This film is a harbinger of a changing world that's going to elevate. Uh, I believe it's going to elevate the whole institution of indie filmmaking for you, people like you, because look what was done. So I think the future is so bright for you and for your compatriots as indie filmmakers. I have great affinity for indie filmmakers, indie people, because I'm an indie author. And I know the journey that an indie has to take. So I have this great um, compassion for you. But and the other side, it's a two-part little thing for you to think about, is it's also my feeling observing that independent and the Garden State Film Festival, which is it's such a hallmark and it's such a beacon for indie film people because that's what it's built around, indie film people. But I think New Jersey is becoming, and you can comment on this too, Melissa, is becoming maybe kind of a new Hollywood of the East because you got Netflix coming here in a couple
yes.
years, and right down the road from me, they're putting in a $900 million studio. And then somebody else I heard on the grapevine is going to build another one of these monster studios in South Jersey. And you've got Sean Baker, the director. He's a Jersey guy, and then
I know. I was so excited about that.
yeah, Jersey guy. And you got Steven Spielberg here next week
Hmm.
shooting. So anyway, what do you have to say about the world of indie and the new future that is going to be open to you?
Woo.
A lot.
Um, well, I think I'm at the right place at the right moment, right?
Yes, you are. You are in the right place at the right time in the universe. Because there's a subtle, I think, a subtle evolution and a subtle revolution to indie filmmaking, and of course with all the streaming and all the access we have, it just continues to open up more doors for you. So I think it's a very bright future um, for you. Uh,
Yes, I'm
and,
very hopeful.
and
Very.
thank you for sending me the link to that so I could watch that last night. It was great.
Oh my God, thank
So,
you for watching it.
yeah, no, my pleasure, truly. My pleasure. You know, it's just hey, it's just easier sometimes to watch short films, especially when, you know, I got to interview 40 people. So it's kind of hard. But so this has been great. And I thank you so much uh for your graciousness and for being here. And officially welcome you to come back and talk about X to Zero. Hey, I sit in this chair 12 hours a day, so it's Melissa, it's always my pleasure. We're friends now. You know, come
Thank
back and
you.
talk.
We can
Uh,
come back with my gang, the gang
yep,
of Exit Zero, and
absolutely. Come
as
back
a
and
group.
we can do a panel. Hey, whatever. I'm open to anything.
Yay.
You know, I continue to grow this channel, so I'm open to everything. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't leave. I'm just going to stop recording. Don't leave. We're going to